We're back on the SportsMax Zone to talk some football again. The Reggae Boyz could be forced to play their home World Cup qualifiers abroad as the Jamaican government maintains restrictions on public gatherings aimed at curbing the spread of COVID-19. The Reggae Boyz, who are 8th and last in the CONCACAF World Cup qualifying group after 3 games, play the United States at the Q2 Stadium in Texas in their next assignment. That comes up on the 7th of October. The Jamaica Football Federation, the JFF, says it needs the revenue that fans in the stands generate to assist with the funding of the team in its quest to qualify for the World Football Showpiece next year in Qatar. The JFF has recently been quoted in the Jamaican media saying it's fast running out of cash and is exploring several options to replenish the coffers. Now, we were scheduled to speak with a Gen Sec, Dalton Wint, on the show today, but apparently he is no longer available. But the subject is still with us, George, with the JFF in a quandary because they need the home support and the fans coming in. But at the moment, there is no green light coming from the government to have spectators in the stands.
Yeah, and that was a quite revealing piece written in the Jamaica Observer newspaper. I'm trying to remember, I think it was Myers, young Myers, who wrote that article. I don't want to take Sheridan Cohen's credit, but whatever it is, it was in the Jamaica Observer newspaper. Pardon me, guys, for not recalling who wrote it. But it was quite revealing, and you know, I felt a jolt when Dalton Wint, the JFF General Secretary, admitted that the JFF had resorted to using deferred financing to keep operations going. What that means is that bills due now, or commitments due now, or cash commitments due now, have been pushed back until a later date, another cycle. Yeah, so you owe over those who you are due to pay, those bills that you are due to honor, you push them back, you defer them to another time. That is never good when running a business because there is no certainty that cash will be available in the cycle that the payment due now has been deferred to honor those commitments. And so you're kicking the can down the road, and there may come a point when you kick the can and it now becomes a steel wall and you mash your toes. Yes, that's standard English, just the same, and you are in some trouble. So Lance, the picture is not perfect. The fact of the stands being absent from the stands is a serious blow for the JFF, along with the squeeze on the economy of every country in the world brought on by COVID-19. So the perfect storm of factors and problems have the JFF in a vice right now, my friend.
Yeah, and we have seen in the past where the Jamaica Football Federation, in its effort to fill the stands at the National Stadium, has gone to extreme efforts. I remember Captain Horace Burrell during his time as president of the JFF really insisting, trying to get the fans out to the stadium because he knows that 25,000 fans supporting the Reggae Boyz means a lot financially to the coffers of the JFF. And that is completely absent now. We saw them playing a home game against Panama a few Sundays ago. Empty stadium, apart from a couple of media personalities and maybe some team officials and so on. And that's not a good look going forward. And to make it worse, George, the team hasn't started well.
Yes, and you could say that again. And look at it. The big countries in Europe, with the economies where governments can offer to have furlough going, where the government is paying 80% of persons' salaries who are out of work by virtue of the COVID-19. So they can afford, they have cash where they can even afford to do that. They are back on track now because they are having fans back in the stands because of their advanced COVID-19 vaccine programs, where they can welcome fans back. So the point I'm making is that they don't need to survive on that. But they have that facility. We, who are in a far worse financial position than them, aren't able to have fans back in the stands. And that is why the perilous nature of the finances of football federations in this part of the world is why small nations like Jamaica and those who make up the CFU in the CONCACAF region will always be in support of a 2-year cycle World Cup and a 48-team World Cup. They wouldn't mind if the World Cup is played every year because that guarantees crucial revenue to keep the program going and not having you depend on funding from these sources such as advertising and broadcast rights and so forth, so forth. Mind you, any good business would be in a position where it can drive revenue generation through advertisement and the traditional ways ways that people attract funding for a football program. And perhaps it is that we must use the COVID-19 as an excuse to absolve the JFF of blame in this regard at the global situation, because someone will ask, then why is it that in a pandemic, the JFF has found itself without a marketing manager? Who is out there to attract the funds and to sell the program and to sell the vision of qualifying for Qatar and the benefit of attaching yourself to this program right at this time? And then how then could you expect to even keep yourself afloat in this situation without someone or a unit to drive that? So perhaps it is that they've essayed and authored part of their own problems, Lance. But it's a real concern for the JFF right now. You may have to give them a loan, my friend.
Oh, me? George, you're sending me to rob the bank. But you know what? One of the things that they're considering, George, is trying to generate some sort of an arrangement with overseas, using overseas venues for home games, and we know that the Jamaican diaspora in certain parts of the United States is huge enough that, you know, given a match, say in Florida, and maybe even fans leaving Jamaica to go and watch the match, could probably fill a couple of stadiums there to allow them some sort of financial arrangement that could allow them to benefit, as against completely empty stadiums at home. Because having a home game in front of empty stands is no benefit to the team, really. But you know, there are a lot of people, and I've heard varying views on this. There are people who just feel that the optics of it, you cannot give a home assignment away to a US venue. Just the thought of it is for some people unthinkable. But I think the JFF is caught in a position now that they have to think about that and the possible benefits that could accrue from having a match at maybe the IMG Stadium in Florida, that's in Bradenton.
Yes.
Where a lot of football is played, CONCACAF football is played. And maybe, given the current circumstances, that may be the better option.
Yeah, look, I heard you say full stadiums. I take it you mean you're using the point to say, well, a big crowd. Yeah? Because I doubt
some of them aren't that big.
Right, but all right. So if it's a 5,000 seater or a 10,000 seater,
more, George. I think Jamaican football fans are so hungry to see the Reggae Boyz in a World Cup program that I believe that certain venues in the USA could have 15,000 Jamaicans going. I think so.
Well,
no, the diaspora is bigger than you think, George.
No, man. The diaspora is as big as no, man. I know the size of the diaspora.
But they may not be football fans.
No, I'm just saying the appetite for football at this time when the team isn't doing well. Remember, football fans don't push a team to do well.
Yeah.
They follow the team that is doing well.
Yeah.
The Reggae Boyz right now are struggling, and that's my only reservation. I am with you on what they have to do. They have to try novel approaches to get this thing going.
Yeah.
And I heard floated, not from the JFF itself, that there may even be an entreaty to the Minister of Finance and Planning in Jamaica, Dr. Nigel Clark, for funds to boost the JFF to help the boys during this campaign. That's one option that I'm certain will not work. There is no money there to do that when so many other issues of state demand resources from the finance ministry. And I'm not laughing in a snide way. I'm just saying that that's not an idea that we can give life to at this time. But the JFF in a desperate situation, and they have to keep the lights on for the football to progress through the World Cup qualifiers. We'll take a break. We come back with more in the SportsMax Zone.